Welcome to the Rod and Cyndee podcast. How are we doing today, Cyndee?
Hey, Rod, I'm doing just great and fine on this beautiful day in Phoenix. Thank you.
Isn't this a beautiful day in Phoenix? We're actually outside. Isn't that cool? We're outside doing a podcast in Phoenix, Arizona.
I know, in my mom's backyard on her patio. It's like so gorgeous out.
Exactly.
The wind is lightly blowing, and it's like probably 70 degrees. It's gorgeous.
I just looked. It was 76 degrees right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't look.
With
Thank
a light
you for-
breeze coming from the northeast with a little chance of rain, a 15% chance of rain today. Highs are going to be in the 80s, but lows going to be in... Okay, that's enough of that. Welcome to Phoenix, Arizona.
Yay!
Yay. This is awesome. We're outside, so if you guys hear some odd noises like a dog barking or a bird chirping or a plane going overhead, it's just us doing this live outside. I think this is kind of cool. You know, people can walk by and see us or hear us and everything. This is kind of fun.
It is fun.
This is a blast. This is kind of cool. We will never know who may just show up, you know?
Yeah, you never know.
Yes. Could be one of the dogs, too.
Maybe so. Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh,
There
the
you
baby's
go.
crying.
Right there already. I love it. This is awesome. Really. So the little puppy's been quiet all day today until we started podcasting. He wants to make sure he wants to be part of the podcast too.
Yep, that's my dog, Bailey. He's so doggone cute.
He is. He's a little chihuahua. Chihuahua.
Long-haired chihuahua.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he's my little man.
Yep. So we're kind of excited about this podcast today because actual podcast is what is this about today?
Well, we decided to talk about synchronicities. A big reason why is because Rod and I, for almost 3 years, 2 years.
2.5 years.
3 years, yeah.
Almost 3 years. Yeah, it's been almost three.
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have been experiencing some really cool and unique and out of this world from another department out there in the galaxy. We're not quite sure. Things happen to us and synchronicities, and even in our daily life, some synchronicities. And so we wanted to share some of ours, and maybe you can relate to them, or maybe perhaps you might start paying attention to them.
I think paying attention to the synchronicities around you is amazing. I mean, from the new numbers to colors to different things, just there's messages everywhere, and the synchronicities of these are awesome.
Absolutely. They are messages, and that's the thing. You may not understand it at that time, what it is, but I guarantee you, you will. I believe you will eventually.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a matter of paying attention. And it might be a story. You might, not get what this thing is today, and you might get something tomorrow or next week. And maybe if you put them all together, it might actually give you a sentence worth of a message.
Right. What if some Joe Smo came up to you, Cyndee, and said,
"Hey, Cyndee, I want to know what synchronicity means."
What would you tell him?
Well, I would pull out my phone, Google the definition of synchronicities, and I would lay it on them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, here we go. You ready?
Yep,
All
I'm ready.
right. It says the noun of synchronicity, the simultaneous occurrence of events that appear significantly related but have no discernible causal connection.
Oh, wow, Cyndee, thank you very much for telling me that. Now I totally understand what synchronicity is.
Well, good. I'm glad I could certainly help you today.
Yeah, so Joe Smo, now he knows what synchronicity means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what that meant, but I know what synchronicity means.
What is your version, Rod?
Synchronicities is it's when things happen simultaneously. It's occurrences that happen over and over and over, or it happens to two people at the same time, or
A collective of people.
collective of people at the same time. That's what synchronicities is. Now, Cyndee and I used to go to fairs and that and do this thing called synchronized healing. Mm-hmm. Now, it's nothing to do with synchronized swimming. It's synchronized healing.
Yeah, it was pretty beautiful and unique. Not very many people or nobody that we knew of really actually did this, but people followed out after us, which I think is lovely.
Oh, that's beautiful that way.
Absolutely. So what we did is we both are Reiki masters, and we did our energy work with the client or the body person in front of us or laying on the table. And because I have color therapy under my belt, let's just say, I would add the colors to the healing and energy work as well. What was gorgeous about it, though, is that you had the male and the female energies intertwining within the healing of the body. And it's like, what a balance that, equals out to be. And it's just lovely. And it's powerful because Rod and I are on a same kind of wavelength of a vibration.
Vibration, yep.
So not only do he and I connect in that respect, but then you add, the masculine and the feminine energies. And wow, what a healing. And honestly, we only do these for half an hour.
Oh, absolutely. Well, actually, that's all they really need, is a plug-in for a half hour. It's like jump starters and boom, they were done and over with. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that I think everybody that knows energy work, find that connection with somebody and try it. It's fun. It's a blast. Mm-hmm. When you get that connection, you can actually see each other's energy and you can play with that energy. It makes such a healing. It is so fun.
It really is. People get done off the table and they're either laughing, they're crying, they're feeling good, or maybe they might not feel a whole lot that day. Something might hit them the next day and, text one of us going, wow, blah, blah, blah. So I'm feeling and thank you. And it's just, it's really powerful. It really is. And,
yep.
and we were packed. We were always scheduled. We couldn't barely get a lunch in.
10 minutes before, 10 minutes while we're setting up, actually, we look over and our sign-up sheet was almost full.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we turn around, it's like, whoa. It's something, it's not a gimmick or anything. It's something to draw people to it because it's like, you can feel that beautiful energy. You can feel that excitement all around people. And people love that. Mm-hmm. And that's an important thing. Wow, dogs are going crazy. This is awesome. I love this. This is real life.
It is. We have 2 greyhounds and a chihuahua.
Yep, it's rescue greyhounds on that.
Yeah, they are. My mom and my brother rescue greyhounds and adopt them, and it's wonderful.
Well, to be honest with you, little Bailey was a rescue too.
Yes, he was. And so you got these big girls and this little guy, and they're so cute all together. And
oh my gosh,
all of them are rescues, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, they're big dogs too. One of the dogs is tipping 100 pounds, actually.
There's a big girl.
Yeah, she's a big girl. She's awesome. I love these greyhounds. They're beautiful. They lay
really
around wherever they want to lay around. They go wherever they want to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're pretty synchronized themselves.
They are. That's what I want to talk about, is that they are. There's a synchronicity to them, that they run beside each other. They play with each other. There's a synchronicity that they have.
Absolutely. Good. Yep. Good. That was good pointing out
absolutely. That. Absolutely. That's a beautiful dog. So if you hear them once in a while, don't mind them. They love to hear our podcast too. So
they're just doing their chiming in.
Absolutely. As long as they're not ruiing.
Oh, but that would be pretty.
Oh, ruining is so beautiful. I know. I love it when they rue.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
So I would like to, if it's okay, Rod, share one of my synchronicities. I had a ladies' night, and I would have those every few months at Beyond Today, where I invited ladies only. We'd have some snacks and, adult and non-adult beverages. But ideally, what it was really about was all the ladies would come in, they'd pick an oracle card of their choice, and we would do a reading off of that. And, and everybody kind of got involved and, participated, some people, and, helped give that person a reading at the moment. And it was really beautiful and fun. It was really fun. But this one particular day, the day before my ladies' night, I heard the word Zoe, and you remember that?
I remember this. Yes, I really do.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, it caught my attention. First of all, I work at a company that I deal with people, all day long, and I hear names all day long. So it was kind of interesting to me and intriguing to me personally that this name Zoe was, caught my attention. And sometimes this happens, and obviously there's a reason. So it caught my attention when I was, doing something with that name. And then I heard a customer came in and her name was Zoe. It was like 3 or 4 things in that one day.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, during the day, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I shared it with you that evening.
Right.
I'm like, Rod, what's the deal with the Zoe? And I think I even read it somewhere, or I heard somebody talking to somebody else and heard the name. It was just like it kept coming up in different ways.
And there's actually something came up. Our friend Dr. Mike actually said something about Zoe also, and I had looked it up on the internet at the time, and you had actually said something to me about Zoe, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was just looking it up.
Yeah,
Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just ironic, all this name kept coming up. So I shared it with Rod, and he's like, Cyndee, why don't you talk about that tomorrow night or at your ladies' night? And I'm like, you know what? That's a great idea. There's obviously a reason why it's coming to me. And so I did. The next night at my ladies' night, I brought it up. I'm like, this is what's been coming to me. This name Zoe. I said, I don't know if it's a message for someone out there or some sort of a connection or what have you. I just presented it like that. And my goodness, lo and behold, this one lady that was there, she said, well, I had a dream last night, and this woman by the name of Zoe was in my dream. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I guess this is for you, to recognize that name. And oh my goodness, this woman popped up in your dream. And she announced her name was Zoe. Well, come to find out, this lady had lost her son, I believe, son, at a kind of a young age in his 20s.
Right, yep.
And so she proceeded to share her story. And I was like, wow, of course we were all involved in that moment, and listened and felt, our heartfelt to her. And then this other lady came in. She was running late, and so she came in a little bit after this lady had shared her story. And we kind of, I think, reiterated, what we had already done because she was a little bit late. And I brought up the name Zoe, and she goes, oh my gosh, she said, I had a dream last night, and the name Zoe came up. This woman appeared in my dream, and the name Zoe. And so all of us in the room are going, what? Because she had no idea yet that the other woman shared her story.
Yeah, I was checking her in when you guys were telling the story, actually.
Exactly. So all the rest of us were going, what? That lady just said the same thing, that she had a dream, with this woman who appeared in her dream, and her name was Zoe. And it was that night before the ladies' night.
Absolutely,
both ladies.
Yes. Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So she proceeds to share her story, and oh my goodness, same thing. She had lost a son as well at a young age. Both women had lost their child, who were both in their 20s, like within a year,
right?
Of this night,
yep,
or a year or so of this night.
Yep.
And we're going, okay, so what is what is the synchronicity of that? What is the reasoning behind it? So it was pretty interesting that it was brought up. These women came together in this evening to share their story. Zoe also, the definition of it is life, eternal life. So maybe that was the whole reasoning behind that, is to share that the name Zoe is eternal life.
I think so. I think that has a big major point to it. I mean, everybody got what the story what they needed out of it, and even afterwards, we had clients come up to us and say, I was at Cyndee's ladies' night, and wow, my heart went out to these and to this ladies, and there's actually a couple of my clients had lost children of themselves, and we're saying the same thing, is that how that brought up feelings and everything else, and they really needed to hear that, and that's important. That's part of the synchronicity of learning and of needing to hear things. Part of the story, part of it. There's something to be aware of. The synchronicities are.
Oh, absolutely. Again, they're messages. They're the universe, if they could probably come down and just talk to you, they would. But obviously they can't. Not yet, at least, let's just say.
No, but they probably can.
But they send their messages in other forms and ways.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's where this whole conversation comes in, once again, is that pay attention to what's around you.
Absolutely. Don't they come down and talk to you?
Well.
Yeah, I knew that. They do come down and talk to you. Come down and talk to me too. So
yeah, I think they touch other people's lives too.
It's just part of ourselves talking to ourselves anyway. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we play all parts in it. So
there you go.
So that's beautiful. I like that. I like the Zoe story because it's really heartfelt and touching. Because that's a big thing. Just one name and how synchronized it was with everybody else around.
Well, it really was. And then to further that story, just for one more moment. That was a Friday, the ladies' night. Well, I think it was like that next Monday or Tuesday at my job that I work at. This gentleman, he sent an email to our email address, let's just say, because he wanted us to print it out. So he did. He sent it over, and I went over to the computer with him, and we pulled up this section, which was his email, and I go, oh, is this what you sent? Because it said the name Zoe. He goes, no, that's not me. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was like so bizarre. It was like this name Zoe interfered or what do you call that?
Interacted with?
Well, or interfered with, I guess,
Interfered,
him
yeah, probably,
sending
yeah.
his
Yep.
email and this sudden, there was no message behind, there was no email behind this subject of Zoe. But it was like, oh my gosh, it was in that same time period, though, of talking about Zoe.
Right.
So it was like, wow, okay, well, there's that name again. It just popped up, and the man, he and I are going, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Where'd that come from?
What does Zoe stand for again?
Eternal life.
Internal life.
Eternal life.
How beautiful is that? Eternal life.
Well, think about those young men who had passed, and everybody
Yep.
else who has passed. It's
Yep.
all about eternal life,
Absolutely.
Yep.
So maybe that guy needed to hear that too, but maybe he didn't quite understand what internal life meant.
Very good.
I think sometimes when they send us a message from the other side, I think it's kind of a puzzle in a way, or it comes in encrypted, and it takes somebody to encrypt it or take the puzzle apart to make it fit. Because when we start talking, and we hang around the same people all the time, we start talking like them. And I do this as I actually have an issue sometimes because I talk spiritual all the time. I live, eat, drink, everything spiritual. That's what I always do. I just believe that everybody understands what I'm saying sometimes when I talk spiritual. So I think I'm wondering if with the higher self coming down and trying to get a message to people, they just think, well, you'll get it. You'll understand what spirituality. You'll understand this meeting. You'll get this.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I don't think so.
I don't think so. Even we questioned some of ours, and we've had some
Right.
crazy, amazing
Oh, absolutely.
things come our way.
And the biggest question is did you send that to me?
Well, it's just so sometimes unbelievable. You have to question it once in a while, even though I really don't mean to. But
Right,
it's like,
right.
whoa. I mean, like, for example, here's a cool
We
example.
don't want to question the universe. But go ahead.
No, we don't. And I'm not questioning the universe. I'm questioning you, Rod.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because
Okay.
these things come from your phone or something like that.
Right, yeah. I had something to do with it, yes.
Yeah. Like, here's a great story. There was one time where Rod wasn't feeling very well. And
Oh my gosh, you can tell that story.
this is one of many
Yes.
many different stories or things that have happened to us. But anyways, so he wasn't feeling good. And we were talking, and then he hung up the phone. He's like, oh, I got to go. I'm like, okay, I understand. Bye. And his phone kept calling me. It kept calling me, and I'd pick it up, and there'd be nothing there. And so it did about 2 or 3 times. And finally, like the third time it called me, I heard in the background, poor guy, some noises, he had an upset stomach,
Right.
anyways.
It was like it, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to be detailed,
No,
but
thank
if you understand what I'm saying. So I heard, some vomiting, I'm just going
Right,
to say, in the
absolutely.
background.
Right.
But it was like crazy. He's bent over the toilet. His phone calls me so I can hear this.
And I have no idea my phone had called her.
Yeah. And then I'm going, oh gosh, poor guy. And I hung up the phone again. Well, then his phone texted me.
Oh, that's
like,
right.
right, if that wasn't enough that I had to hear that he was sick. And it texted me. It was like
In
a
code.
letter.
It was code,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was in code. It was like letter, fluid. It wrote the word fluid out. And then like a letter symbol and then 444.
Right, that's right, yeah.
It was like it was telling me he needs fluid. His phone, the universe was sending a message going, he needs fluids. Can't you hear him? It was just
Poor
like,
guy.
what is that about? It was crazy. But these are the kind of experiences we have experienced for the last couple of years now or better.
Right, absolutely. And it's not that I get sick often or anything. It's just when
No.
they changed my medication, that's when it messes with my stomach when
Right.
they changed it for my heart attack.
Right.
And when they were doing that quite often there for a while, and my phone was calling her every time, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't stop it. There's actually one time I actually took the battery out of my phone because
Right.
it kept trying to call her, and if it can't call her through my phone, it will use another phone to get a hold of her.
It'll do something.
Right. She will get a phone call or a text message from a unlisted phone number or a phone number that is no longer in service or use. That if I got my phone on silence and I take the battery out or whatever else, and it will actually use another phone.
Yeah, it definitely wants to let me know what's going on.
So I've changed phones, I've changed plans and everything else. I'm thinking that's part of it, right? And I have done all that. I'll never forget. I was changing a plan. I was at the place
Store, yeah.
the store getting the plan changed. My phone was completely apart because they had to pull the SIM card out and everything else. They had my phone completely apart.
Battery and everything.
Everything. That Cyndee was getting phone calls and text messages from my phone.
At that time.
At that time, in which I couldn't have done it. It was 6 hours I was there. They're having an issue with it. So I was there for 6 hours because I went and ate and everything else and didn't have my phone for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And Cyndee kept getting messages throughout the whole time.
Yeah. I've recorded everything, but at this moment, I don't know particularly
Yep.
message was or messages. But yeah, because I'm like, Rod, what is this picture about? And what is this message about? He goes, well, Cyndee, my phone was like, totally apart. No SIM card, no battery. I was changing phones, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, here's the proof in the pudding,
Absolutely.
because, when I get up the messages or the pictures, it shows the time that it was sent.
Absolutely. So that's kind of crazy, Cyndee. I mean, that's seriously, it was very crazy that that would happen to us.
Oh, well, exactly. And we thought so too. But these are, once again, these are things that happen to us that just amazing. We want to share all of our stories so badly. And so we're going to do the best we can. Maybe one day we'll have a book. And I think I mentioned this at the last podcast or so, that our book would be more colorful with pictures than it will be words.
Exactly.
But
well, because you get a lot of pictures in that, and it's interesting. Some of these pictures I've seen before. They're like something I saw on Facebook or somebody else's on Pinterest or something like that. Some of these things that you're getting, but it's like, no, how did she get that picture? I didn't save it. I didn't get. I don't know. So
Right.
it's the craziest thing that Cyndee will get, especially things that she thought of or talked about. And she'll get a picture from me.
yeah,
And something that I didn't even know about.
Exactly. Like, here's another good example of that. So one morning, I have this beautiful purple glass, and I love purple, incense holder, right? It's a
Right,
long,
yep.
kind of skinny one. It's beautiful purple glass, and it's got a goddess on it, and she's holding the moon stone. So she's a moon goddess. So this one particular day, I don't know for whatever reason why I did it, but I walked my incense holder out to the kitchen to empty it, because it was full of ashes and whatnot. I have a garbage can in my bedroom, and every time I was empty in that one, I don't know why this particular time I walked out to the kitchen. But while doing so, I was internally admiring my glass incense holder and going, God, it's so beautiful. I really like it. Look at the goddess. She's beautiful, And I was internalizing how lovely this is, you know?
Right, yep.
And anyways, so later that morning, Rod and I were talking on the phone as we always do. And after a little while, we hung up the phone. And all of a sudden, I get a picture from him after we hung up the phone. I'm looking at it going, oh my goodness. It was this beautiful, the background was very colorful, like pinks and blues and orange and purples, and they were swirly and they were very bright and beautiful colors. Like the canvas was just swirling with all these colors.
Right.
But it was like they had taken the wet paint and etched in there these goddesses holding the moon,
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. There was like multiple on this,
Right.
painting, if you will. And I'm going, oh my gosh. So I called Rod back and I'm going, Rod, you're not going to believe this. I was just this morning, thinking about how beautiful my incense holder is, yada, yada, yada. And this picture comes up and it's the same thing that I was already thinking about this morning. And that's what Rod's talking about is that, sometimes he may not even know what I'm thinking and a picture will show up. And that's happened many times. It's just
From my
gosh.
phone.
Yeah, from his phone.
Yep.
How does his phone know that? His phone doesn't know that. Nobody knows that except me, myself, and I, the universe.
Absolutely. Well, and the weirdest thing about it is that we thought it was something to do with the phone. We had thought it was something to do with the service and everything else. And I've changed services, changed phones.
Yeah.
We've changed everything.
Yeah.
And there'll be times that I won't see it being sent to Cyndee. It actually won't show up on my phone that it was sent.
Right.
But sometimes it will. It's like if I need to see it, they'll show it to me.
Right.
But if I don't need to see it, I can't see it in the messages. And I have no idea what it was sent. So I always say, hey, Cyndee, send it back to me. I have no idea what it sent you because it doesn't show up on my phone.
Exactly. Yeah. More often than not, you don't even know. Or a lot of times, or sometimes he'll send me a message and a picture or something will tag along
That's
with
right,
that
yes.
text message.
That just happened the other day.
It just happened once again the other day. Yep. The little
Right.
bear message.
That was so cute,
It
wasn't
was
it?
cute.
Because it's something I always say. I always talk about the message about, it's not when you want somebody around, it's not for them to fix something. It's just to have somebody around.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that saying. I love that feeling and everything else. So I sent her this picture, and that tagged along with it, a bear picture with that saying on it.
Yep.
And I'm like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool.
It was very cool. Very cool. I just think it's lovely. I really think and feel that we should probably do a book one day and just share all the wonderful pictures and
absolutely.
messages that came with it or
Absolutely.
not, or maybe the conversation we were having. Because a lot of times we'll be talking about something and then a picture or a text message will all of a sudden appear.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and Cyndee gets blamed for a lot of this stuff because of her wild, crazy energy. Because she does. Cyndee has some pretty massive energy.
Yeah.
And that it can go a lot of places. She just wiped out a whole hour worth of a documentary of this guy that has all these fancy cameras and everything else. And she just wiped it out just because she was just a little upset about something that was said. And she internalized it. And when she internalizes something, the whole world feels it. Whoosh.
Yeah, because the little bamboo sticks
Oh my
fake
gosh,
plant thingy was
the plant was moving.
Yeah, it
and
was moving.
everything
It was
else,
kind of
and-
it was sitting sort of next to
it
me.
was crazy in that. So, she has to be careful about what she internalizes and what and how angry she gets, and sometimes in the fact, and it's not angry because Cyndee's not a really angry person. It's just a little bit of frustration that comes through her will dampen, it become energy. Okay, I'm just going to say that it becomes energy, and you can feel that energy. It becomes unfiltered energy.
Right.
And so when that happens to her, it's like, get out of the way.
Exactly.
I mean, I felt it all the way in Portland, Oregon when I was in there and you were
my
here.
Gosh.
I felt that.
Yep, you sure did.
Synchronicities,
Synchronicities, absolutely. So what other kind of synchronicities have you experienced that you remember right now, Rod?
Oh my gosh, there's a whole bunches of it.
But that's just it, right?
It's like it's a helicopter flying by. I love this. Synchronicities of just talking about something and it happens,
Yeah.
And so, well, I guess one of my biggest synchronicities is numerology, the numbers. It's either when I'm heading to Cyndee's place or anything else. It's always interesting is that when I'm going to Cyndee's place to see Cyndee or pick her up and we go do something, that I see nines, a lot of nines. Now, Cyndee is a 9.
Life path.
Life path of 9. It's about new beginnings and everything else, and that. I mean, it's about endings. Actually.
Endings, yes,
not
and
new
spirituality,
beginnings.
transformation.
Spirituality,
Yeah.
transformation, and everything else. So that's which I find is very fascinating. Is that I see 9s a lot, but then I see 7s and 4s also along with it.
Me too.
And then when Cyndee's coming to see me or going to meet us at Beyond Today, when we had Beyond Today, that she'd always see 7s and 4s.
Yep, one or the other or both.
Absolutely. We're going out for breakfast this morning, which was awesome. And my gosh, we seen 7s and 4s all over the place. And then we went off we went to help Mom get her some water from the water place. We saw 4 7s.
Yes.
It's just that synchronicity. We don't see a lot of that when we're by ourselves or when we're not doing something or for each other. I don't see a lot of that.
Right. Sometimes I do, but more often than not, it's if I'm going to talk to you or meet you or something like that. Is more often than not is when I see 4s and or 7s
Absolutely.
on the short ride to see you.
Oh, absolutely.
It's amazing. And now when we talk about these numbers, we're not talking about like 7, 4, 3, 4, 4, something like that. We're talking like they're in a row. It's like 4, 4, 4 or 7, 7, 7. We're talking where they're like back to back like that, not just in random.
Right,
Within
exactly.
the license plate. It's the license plates we're talking about, by the way.
Right.
They are 3 of the one or 4 of the one.
Yes, exactly.
And it's so powerful,
Right. Well, and I think we talked about this before, is that, you can use that and ask questions, to the universe. Use it kind of like a pendulum or whatever else. Numerology is fun. You ask a question, then you try to find something that's pairs or 3s or 4s of a kind on license plates. Because they'll tell you a story. They'll answer the question, like 4s means that angels are around you, and 7s mean lucky, lucky chicken dinner or whatever that is. Winner, winner,
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
No, what does 7s mean again?
Well, 7 is a sacred number. It's mysteries and mysterious. it's just mostly sacred number. I mean, in numerology, also, I think it talks about addictions and things like that. But I think the overall, not only is it just it's the mystery number because of the 7, because there's so many things that are 7 chakras, 7 days a week, 7. You know, things, multiple things
Right.
are 7s.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's a very powerful number.
Absolutely.
I was born on the 7th too.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
June 7th.
June 7th.
Yeah. Beautiful. And 2s are duality. 3s are trinity. You know, it goes right down the line. Nothing else.
Yes.
So those are a lot of synchronicities of we have together in that aspect. But we also have synchronicities of there's a lot of things that we have in common. You know, interesting synchronicities such as we were only 5 days apart that we were born. So that was quite a synchronicity.
And 5 years, 5 days, 5 years.
You had to add that, didn't you?
That's okay.
Really? 5 days, 5. I didn't want anybody else to know that you're an older woman.
Whatever.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't want anybody to know that, but that's all right.
Because it's not true. That's
No,
why you
it's
didn't want them to know.
All right, I'm an older guy.
And
So-
we've had a lot of family things that were
absolutely.
like same day or same month or same year.
Right. Your parents are what? Signs.
Oh, Virgos.
They're Virgos, both Virgos. My parents were both Geminis.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
My mom adopted her great niece. Her name is Desiree, and it's spelled uniquely. And Rod has
A daughter named Desiree, which spelled uniquely.
the same uniquely.
Same. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not very many people spell it Desirae.
Right.
I love that. I love that spelling. I've always liked that. But so there's that synchronicity. Cyndee and I were actually married to other people on the same year, same month. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting. It's just fascinating. There's all these different synchronicities that we have.
Yep.
I think we come from the same cut of in the celestial being too.
Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible, yes. And he's a Jean, and I'm a June in the middle name.
Oh my gosh, that's right. June. That's right.
Oh my
funny.
gosh.
Yeah.
And honestly, throughout the few years here, we'll come across something and we're like, oh my gosh, that's like, same. And, I'm drawing a blank of anything else, but
Well,
those are some big
our
ones.
music. We love the same music. We kind of love the same food in respect, There's a whole bunch of things we love. Cars. I've always loved the Mustangs. You have a Mustang. We have a lot of synchronicities that we have that are in common with each other.
Right, absolutely.
You love Chihuahuas. I don't. So that's. I'm just kidding. Bailey's awesome.
Yeah, he's a stinker, but
Yeah.
I love him.
I know you do.
He's very protective. That's why
Oh
he's
my
a
gosh,
stinker.
he is a stinker in that aspect. I love it.
But it's also a good thing.
Right. So, what other synchronicities we have going on here?
Yeah, well, recently, legs were...
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
I know. So just a couple weeks ago, and this is the thing, guys, is that randomly something will come to you. Like I shared my Zoe story, like where'd Zoe come from? But when something is presented to you where you're catching it, mentally or
Right.
something, right? And all of a sudden you hear it again, you are being drawn to that particular word or person or number or what have you. And so like, for example, a couple weeks ago, I left work and I was in my car and the song by, ZZ Top, Legs, was playing. I'm like, cool, she's
Can you
got
sing it?
legs.
There you go.
She knows how to use them. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway. So I was at a stoplight and I wanted to turn right, but of course I had to wait to turn right because the other traffic was going.
Right.
And as soon as the other traffic was going, passing through the intersection there, I was able to turn right. So I did, and I got behind this small SUV, like a 4Runner type, and I kid you not, the license plate said Legs. I'm going, what? Okay, I'm listening to ZZ Top Legs at the moment, and this license plate. Okay, mind you, there's a million license plates out there, and at this very moment, I had to wait for this traffic and get behind this particular vehicle to see that license plate Legs. I'm going, okay, what does this mean? Is it a mental, is it a physical thing with me? Is it a spiritual thing with me? Is it me? Is it even me? Or is it a message about someone else?
Right.
And
Remember what happened when I got to work then?
Go ahead, share.
Well, I get to work, and one of the therapists there has known that you're getting your leg worked on and your hip worked on and everything else because you're getting ready for the Summit Challenge.
Yay! 2
Yay.
weeks at this point from now.
2 weeks. That's awesome.
I know.
You're going to do 7 summits, right?
I'm doing 6.
It's 6 summits.
This
Okay.
is my 6th year.
Yeah, 6 years, so you're doing 6 summits.
Yes.
And a summit out in Arizona is a hill. It's a mountain. It is.
It is. It's a mountain.
it is a
So
mountain.
you
You're
have
climbing.
one day to hike these summits. And
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's quite the challenge, but it's a personal challenge, and
Right.
it's so awesome.
But me being a structural therapist, then I've noticed that her tracking is off as she tracks her leg. And so I'd actually reset it and put everything back into place and everything else, and strengthened it back up and everything. And the craziest thing is that I had the door open actually while I was working on it, so another therapist saw it, and he's intrigued what I do, and that, so he's watching what I was doing. And since it was you, so the next day he saw me.
Oh, it was like a few weeks later.
Well, it was. Well, but the next day I hadn't seen him in a couple of weeks. That's what
Right,
I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the next time I saw him, he looks at me and he goes, the same day Cyndee tells me about the legs thing, he goes, how is Cyndee's leg doing?
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue. After a couple of weeks. And I was like, that's fine. Why you ask?
Yeah.
He goes, well, I was just really curious. And he says, I've never seen the manipulation like you did, muscle manipulation. He goes, it was very interesting. So I was wondering how her leg was doing. I said, she's tracking fine. She's doing great. She's doing wonderful. Her leg.
Yeah. And I think there was one more thing, or something on TV or the news. I can't remember. There was one more thing.
Yes,
that was in relation to legs.
Right.
I'm going, wow. So there was like 4 or 5 different things that were brought up within a couple days of each other.
Did we ever figure that one out, what that meant?
Well, I mean, the thing is that it could be anything. Like I said, it could be a physical thing. It could be a spiritual thing. It could be, like a message, moving forward.
Moving forward? That's what
Yeah.
the first thing that always came in my mind every time you said that. It's
Right.
It's part of you moving forward. It's part of, life itself moving forward.
Right. Or maybe because my leg was off track, maybe I was off track and, my moving forward and I needed to be fixed and healed, let's say, to get back on the treadmill and start moving again, let's just say, right?
Wow, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Is because that's what it has been all about is you getting back on track, getting back to start doing the Summit Challenge, start taking your life back, taking your power back of who you really are.
Oh, absolutely. And to forge forward more in the spiritual realm and the feminine, energies and the goddesses, bringing them together, trying to, maybe share something with that as well. But that's all part of what, is, to come in fruition here. And so it's the moving forward. So, I mean, it could be something like that. It could be that it was a physical thing, which was true.
Absolutely.
It could be just, I don't know. Sometimes it's just a question. You're not quite sure, but maybe it is all of the above that maybe have come to you in your mind.
Right, but that's synchronicity. Mm-hmm. So, and like we've been saying, is that these synchronicities, they're telling us something. There's a story there, and we need to find out what this story is about.
Right, investigate it.
Exactly. You really got to be careful and watch it over. Now, my feeling now, since we've gone through all this and everything else, that I'm wondering if it had to do something with a warning about your mom's leg.
Huh.
To keep an eye on her leg.
Oh, wow. That's pretty smarty pants there, Rod. That's
I know,
good.
I'm pretty smarty pants sometimes.
No, it's true because actually my mom is in the ER as we speak.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we asked if we could go with her, and she didn't want us there. But
Yeah.
It's about her leg. That's why she went to the ER.
Yeah, she had a little spot on her leg, and they tested it. It was a little bit of cancer, this squamous or squamous.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
I have no
Sorry,
idea.
guys. I'm terrible.
Squirmish?
I'm terrible with names sometimes. I'll be honest. Anyway, so she had a little bit of a cancer thing going on. So they went and cut it all out. So she had stitches and all that good stuff. Well, she just noticed a day or two ago that it was starting to, or yesterday. No, yesterday. Yesterday
Right.
it was starting to ooze when she was at dance. So anyway, she went to urgent care. They said, well, here's some antibiotics, but maybe, keep an eye on it. So she took herself to the emergency room to have them check it out and, in case she needed IV or something. And honestly, we offered to take her and go with her. And she's like, no. So that's how my mom is. She's a strong little old bird.
So right before the podcast, then she actually let us know that everything's okay.
Yep.
She's doing okay.
Yep.
And it's kind of interesting that maybe that's what it was. Is just keep an eye on it and pressure her, push her into maybe getting it checked out.
Absolutely.
Because we did. Well, and actually both you and I told her when she showed me her first time, she said, "You got to look at my leg." And she doesn't talk like that, but I, just was using. Rod, you got to look at my leg. So I looked at her leg and was like, "Wow, it's oozing a little bit." I said, "If it gets any worse," I says, "you better go have it checked out." Not a fan of the ooze, what it was coming out. So I told her, I says, "I'm not a fan of that color."
Plus the redness around it.
Plus the redness around it, and it was getting worse. So I'm glad she went in. I really
Absolutely.
am. Absolutely.
So she's doing okay, and I'm so happy. She's been keeping me, posted of what's going on. And so again, the ultrasound came out good. The X-rays came out good because they were, concerned that it might go into the bone and the infection, and everything's good. Yay. She's just she's a little low on potassium.
Yeah, that's right.
So
And
she's hooked up to an
potassium,
IV.
yeah.
Yeah. So I love
She's
her.
okay,
She's
though.
a beautiful lady.
She is. I love her to death too. So very fascinating about the synchronicities, and that is they may be stories about what you need to take a look at and watch out for. And we got more of them we're going to talk about, but I wanted to throw this out is if you have something that just pops in your head, and it just pops in your head and you don't know why, say it, because somebody around you may need to hear it. And sometimes it just sounds like gobbledygook to somebody, but maybe not. One time Cyndee said, "White duck." And it was crazy. There's white ducks all over I saw after that. And it was like, I had to be careful, and I actually protected a poor little white duck crossing the road. So say it out loud, tell people that. Because you may be hearing it for somebody else that can't hear things.
Mm-hmm. Very good point, Rod.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So just say it, and it's like, oh, I just saw. It was like we're having dinner with a bunch of friends last night. I love that group of people that we had dinner with, and they're beautiful souls. I could eat them up. Anyway, it was really funny. It was one of our friends that she just started saying things, and it was odd at first. But she had to get it off her chest, and she was actually saying things that people were going, "Oh yeah," and that's what I'm talking about. In synchronicities, that somebody just may need to hear it.
Absolutely, it could be a healing factor for that person, and that was the case last night. And the one thing that she saw, intuitively or heard intuitively, and she shared it with one of the couples, and he was like, "Wow, thank you for, receiving that information."
Absolutely.
And because this is when he was a child, this incident happened.
Yep.
And he was
It was
grateful.
a sad story too.
Yeah, it was super
my
sad.
gosh.
But, she reassured him that, the message that she was receiving was, he's okay, everything's all right, and it was a dog, by the way.
Yeah.
And so he felt really good and relieved, even after all these years.
Yep.
He was like, "Oh, thank you," and so it was quite interesting.
It was a very interesting story. I like that. I just, but I just want everybody to know that, just say it out loud. So, if somebody doesn't get it, it's okay.
Absolutely.
They may be down the road get it. It's like, "Oh, you remember that lady? She said something and it came true." So
It's true. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have another synchronicity story,
I
Rod?
got a bunch of them, but I don't remember them right now. Do
I
you
know,
have any?
right? Well, remember about the same time the legs thing, I had the flags, the American flags. Remember that?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So this one day at work, simultaneously, there were 3 customers in the store, and they each had a form of a flag type shirt on. Like the lady, she had a
That's
pink
right.
shirt on. It had I think it was breast cancer awareness or something like that. But it was, a flag, and this other gentleman had a flag. And I actually said out loud, I'm like, "Ooh, is it Flag Day, or did something happen out there? Is there, sometimes people wear flags, in recognition of maybe something that happened out
Right,
there.
yep.
The flags could be
Remembrance
half
of stuff. And
absolutely,
yep.
or of someone or something,
Right.
or the flags could be half staff. So I'm like asking them, like, why are all 3 of you here at the same time with flag shirts on?
Right.
Is there something going on? They're like, no. I'm like, okay. So okay, that was interesting.
Right.
And then coming home, I saw a license plate with the word flag on it. And something else. Oh, I think on the news that night or something like that, they were talking about the flag or this woman receiving a flag or something.
That's right. Right.
And
Her
the soldiers. Oh,
husband
the
passed away.
soldiers. Yeah. That's what it was. Her husband passed.
Right,
And
yeah.
then Shania Twain on Dancing with the Stars that same evening was, sang a song about the soldiers.
Right.
So things within this 24-hour period were about flags and or soldiers. And so the next day at work, I go to work and this woman comes in and I kid you not, her purse was a flag. I'm going,
Oh,
okay,
my
what is it?
word.
So then I'm like, okay, what does flag stand for? What's the meaning behind it? Freedom, for one thing,
Oh,
right?
that's right, yeah.
Absolutely. Besides, the fighting and the wars, and I think bottom line is the flag represents freedom. And, it's the most beautiful thing. And guess what, though? What was happening, though, about that same time or right after that is when the football players started,
Oh, that's right. They're
kneeling.
Yep, absolutely.
So I don't know if it had something to do with that or if it was something for me personally, feeling some freedom within, or need to feel some freedom within. I mean,
I think it was freedom for you.
you think so?
Yeah, because you've changed since then. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
change that you've had. You found a little more freedom within yourself.
Peace and freedom.
Thank you. That's
Thank
a good way of
you.
putting it. Yeah, peace within.
Okay. I will definitely take that, and I totally believe you.
And look at you. I look at your beautiful energy, and I say, "God bless America." Thank goodness she feels free.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're right. Absolutely. I have been feeling a little bit trapped for a little while there. I
You
was going
have.
through some physical and spiritual transformations, and I think it's finally it has settled down.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's kind of like the butterfly in the cocoon. Once it's able to come out of that cocoon and open its wings and dry out, and they can fly. That's their freedom.
Oh, it is. Is that beautiful?
Yeah,
I love it.
It's
Love it.
awesome.
It is. What a beautiful concept. That we start seeing things within these synchronicities, and you got to really take a look at it. I mean, these are signs. These are things to really take a look at, and it's like you knew physically that you were clearing yourself, and you're becoming more who you are, and become more peaceful within yourself, which is a great transformation anyway. But I think sometimes the universe just wants to remind you, say, look where you're at. Mm-hmm. Really look where you're at. This is what it's going to feel like. This is the freedom that you're having within you. This is the peace you're having within you.
Thank you.
Yep. And that's what the universe tells you. It's like, stand and salute you.
Aw, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. And thank you for fighting for my freedom on a different plane and physical
Absolutely.
level, too.
Yep.
I appreciate it all. And with you're right. Thank you, Rod. Within myself, I am feeling some freedom within myself and some peace. So thank you so much for recognizing that. And probably maybe that's just what it was all about.
Yep. Can be.
Again, we don't, sometimes we're not quite sure,
Right.
because the synchronicities could be, okay, my mom had her leg issue, right, from
Right.
her little stitches and whatnot. And yet at the same time, I was healing with my leg because you taped me up. So, I mean, the
Right.
synchronicities with my mom and I.
And you're trying to move forward, both your mother
Trying to
and
move
you.
forward, absolutely, and find that
Yep.
freedom. And,
Find that freedom.
it all is like right there.
Well, that's it. That's what the part of the synchronicity is. Isn't that? Did you hear that yelling in the background? I love it. Cyndee has some neighbors that they have like a little restaurant in their backyard, and they must be open for business, so we can hear smell the food. It smells really good.
It smells wonderful.
Yes, and that. So anyway, so what other synchronicities we have going on? We have a lot of them going on. We always have something going on. Isn't there something that comes to your mind right now, or is it something that?
Well, here's another one that you experienced, Rod. I don't know if you want to share it. The name Anthony.
Oh my gosh, do I have to share this one? Yeah. No, actually,
Well,
I really like this one.
Cool. And here's the thing, guys, is that these ones that we're sharing right now, the flag, the legs, and the Anthony, actually just happened within the last 2 weeks.
Right. There's many more
Yeah.
beyond this. That's another whole story, but
Yes.
these are things that just happen to us.
Right.
No, the Anthony one is really cool. Is because first and foremost is that Cindy's oldest son is named Anthony.
Yes. Hi, baby. I love you.
He's a sweetheart. I
Thank
love it.
you.
He's a really nice guy.
And Nick, I
like
love
him.
you too. I don't want to leave you out.
Yes, don't leave Nick out. But Anthony's a
He's
really
my younger son. Sorry. Go ahead, honey. I'm sorry.
Anthony's a sweetheart. He's a really nice guy. I like Anthony a lot. And he's got a good head on his shoulder and everything. And we actually went and had lunch with him, or dinner with him and everything else. And Anthony's smart. I mean, I have a whole new respect for this guy because he wants to take care of business. That's who he is. He's an intelligent kid and everything, and he wants to take care of who he is. And I love that. So I was thinking about Anthony and everything. We actually, got done with the meal and everything. Next couple of days, and that I've had to get a lift to get my car. And the interesting thing is, I dropped my car off to a mechanic. His name is Anthony. So I thought, oh, that's kind of weird.
Which I gave you that information.
Which you gave me the information. This comes from Cyndee.
Yep, the Anthony guy.
So I called Lyft because my car had to be kept overnight. And Anthony from Lyft picked me up to take me to Enterprise. Well, on the way to Enterprise, I'm calling Enterprise to make sure I got my car. I talked to Anthony from the corporate office. Anthony says, yes, Rod, your car will be ready there. And that here's confirmation number and everything. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I get there and guess who waits on me? Anthony.
No way.
Anthony waits on me.
Anthony.
Anthony picks me up from Lyft, takes me to Enterprise, who I talked to Anthony from the corporate office. I talked to Anthony. Anthony got me into a car. So now we're Anthony. OMG. Are you kidding me?
Or OM Anthony? Or OMA?
OMA, yes.
OMA.
So I go back to the office, and I'm in there, and I have to find a ride out to my house. And Cyndee's gone. She's in Sedona, having an epiphany in Sedona. And so I had to call a Lyft again to take me home. That's right, because I thought I was going to get my car back. So I took my rental back, and I called Lyft again, and I got a different Anthony.
Yes, that's right.
So what does Anthony? All these Anthonys mean?
Right. And then I think is around that same time frame, a friend of ours was missing something, and they had me chant or share with them the St. Anthony.
St. Anthony, yes.
And so I will share it with you all. It's really great. My mom uses it all the time, and she gets lucky, and I've gotten lucky with it as well. But this beautiful lady shared this with me one day. So it goes like this. Anthony, look around. Something is lost, must be found. And so if you say that over and over, then, and if you really are in your moment, in the present moment as you're saying it, if you pay attention to the signs or maybe your higher self, the voice, you will be guided to possibly where it might be, this lost item. It may be that moment. It might take a day or two or a week. You never know exactly, but you just got to continue that time frame or that frame of mind. And for me personally, I break it down to a little bit more personal, in a sense where I go, Anthony, look around. My, charm bracelet is lost. It must be found. So I kind of make it a little bit more specific. Right. But it really does work.
So what we kind of figured out and we kind of put together is that one of us is missing something. And I kind of think it has to do with, me moving forward in some things that I'm doing. And maybe I'm missing the whole thing. The salad being Beyond Today being sold, us moving out of Beyond Today, us moving forward in different directions, but yet in the same direction in a lot of things.
Right.
So we're missing something, and I think that's what we were supposed to take a look at. That's what I think we came up with, right?
I believe that was definitely one thing that we came up with. Again, you may or may not know at that moment, but it's a good possibility. Absolutely. I'm not going to discount that whatsoever.
It makes us aware. Mm-hmm. It makes us aware of our surroundings and everything. It's like, there's a reason why we have all these Anthonys in there. And I love that Anthony saying, there's people that swear by that.
My mom.
Your mom, which we loved. But she does. She swears that you will find anything if you use that.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. And here's the other thing. A friend of Rod's and mine, she actually works at Beyond Today. She's still a practitioner. Tina, hi, I love you.
Love you, Tina.
And she came to our house one evening she does shamanic clearing. Thank you. And so we had her come to the house, my mom's house, and just kind of, things felt a little unsettled, let's just say. And she's awesome at this. And we had her come and, go throughout the house, inside and out. And, she did this beautiful work. And she actually, helped clear the energies that were not, appropriate to be here anymore, I guess.
Right.
Is
That's a good way to put it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So she she went to go leave, and she comes back a few minutes later. She had not left actually yet. She comes back into the house. She's like, I can't find my key. She said, I looked all over for it. She took her key off her key ring, so it was just the key.
Right.
And so she's looking all over for it in her car, everywhere. We're like, oh my gosh. So we got the flashlight out because it was like dusk and darkening, and we had the flashlight out trying to look for it. So my mom goes, okay, let's do it. Anthony, look around. Something's lost, must be found. Tina's key. And I am not kidding you. Within 3 to 5 minutes, she reached into her pocket that she has on her shirt,
Yep.
like above the breast area, and bam, there it was. So she was guided somehow, some way to feel or touch or reach or whatever into that pocket, and she found it. But that was after my mom did the St. Anthony.
Right. It's Saint Anthony, right? That's what we're...
Yes.
Saint Anthony.
Yes.
Let's say. I don't know much about Saint Anthony. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah, I think we all should.
We all should. I think that's a good thing to Google, Saint Anthony.
So
Find out
here's
why.
and here's the thing. You can digest this, a lot. Like Anthony, okay, well, A is the first letter of the alphabet. You can do numerology and break down each letter and try to come up with some sort of number. You can break this down into so many different ways, but maybe you don't have to go quite so deep with all this. Maybe just like you said, Rod, you were just, you were trying to find, you were searching for something that you thought was lost or that is now gone.
Absolutely. And it's not. And to be honest with you, it's, I've had a lot of epiphany since then. And, people saying, I'm missing Beyond Today and everything. It's like, it'll always be there. It's always going to be in your heart, Beyond Today is always going to be who you were and who you are. It's fun, but it is that maybe that's what I felt. I was lost, but I didn't. And so it's kind of nice to know that we get signs like this. The universe tells us things. I guess we get knowledge on everything. Mm-hmm. You just have to look for it. And that's the whole thing is when we look for something, we'll find it.
Absolutely.
Good or bad. Did you know that was something I grew up knowing? That was something I knew.
What's that?
That whatever you look for, you'll find it, good or bad. So if I look at somebody and I think they're a mean person and everything else, I will find them being mean. If I look at them person and I say, oh my gosh, they're so loving, beautiful, and everything else, I will find that beauty within them.
Nice.
So it's the whole thing is that I've known this all my life, is that whatever we look for, whatever we want to find, we will find.
Absolutely.
Social media. I love social media. You can take how everybody writes something 2 ways. You can take it and say, oh, I love them. I'm going to send them some love. Or you're like, are you kidding? They wrote that? How disgusting. I'm hurt. I feel bad. Or just send them love. It's either or.
Nice. It's perfect.
It is perfect. We have this beautiful day. We have this beautiful night, and we're in Phoenix, Arizona here. Amongst the beautiful trees and the clouds. It's partly cloudy. I love that today. Mm-hmm. So we had a beautiful Synchronicity day today, didn't we? We
did. Absolutely. Mm. Absolutely. I wanted to kind of share my school zone.
Oh my gosh, really? You got to hear this. This is a great story.
I know. So real quick, while we have a few more minutes.
Yep.
So I believe that not only myself, but all of you out there can appreciate what I'm going to share now. So I drive down Central Avenue, going southbound, every morning, or Monday through Friday to go to work. So there's a particular spot where there is a school zone. Okay, well, first of all, the law and the sign says 15 miles per hour, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
I've been there. I've seen it.
Yeah. So it's a 2-lane, each side. So I'm always in the right lane. And so there's the left lane next to me. And the thing is that the people next to me in the left lane are always going a little faster. So I honk my horn. Maybe they're not paying attention. They're on their phone or in La La Land. I don't know. Or maybe they didn't see the sign. So I honk my horn for the benefit of the doubt on their part. However, on the other side, on my side, I'm like a little bit frustrated and angry because, oh my goodness, you have these children that could be possibly crossing the crosswalk, up ahead. And besides that, once again, it's the law.
The law.
The law. Okay. So I get very frustrated and angry. I've been there, done that. I've been a, cross guard before, and I get it. Bottom line, it's about the children. And doggone these people. So every morning I'd get frustrated, and this one morning the two cars that were next to me were going faster than me because I go 15, and the car behind me decided to go around me into the other lane while we were in that small stretch of the crosswalk, frame. It's
Right.
just a small stretch from where the sign is to where the crosswalk is. He decided to go around me, and I was so angry. You guys, I got to tell you, I was so angry. I got tears in my eyes. I was so upset, going, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It emotionally affected me. It brought tears to my eyes. And so I kid you not, that night I was watching the news, and long story short, they're talking about crosswalks and
Right.
Maricopa County. That's where we live in. We ranked within the top 10 of bad. We failed with that kind of thing, with going too fast in the crossing zone. That was, I believe, Thursday night. The next morning, there was the little truck or little SUV parked on the
That's
side
right.
that does photo radar.
Yeah, photo radar, yes.
I'm like, score. I'm like, yes. And I was so happy that, to find out that we failed in it. Well, gosh, I just gave you a good example why, for one. And two, they had the photo radar in that specific spot. And I was so grateful for it. But unfortunately, the next week, Monday, it started all over again. And I know y'all can appreciate that. It's like, come on, you guys, pay attention. It's just a small stretch where you have to go 15 miles an hour. What if a child is crossing the crosswalk?
Absolutely.
You would not stop fast enough. And guess what? Darn you.
Yes.
So the synchronicities is that it was on the TV that night after my huge breakdown. And then the next morning, the car was there doing photo radar.
This podcast is brought to you by Crossing the Cross Guard.
Yes. Well, and here's the bad part. One more thing is that, if I honk, sometimes they get angry with me. And it's like, I don't care.
know
I'm
you
not
don't.
only making you aware what you're doing wrong, but I'm also hoping that, you might slow down just in case there is a child crossing.
Yes. You guys feel that intensity of the energy of this too. So
I have a passion about it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, you do. You have a lot of passion.
I'm not
about
sorry.
it. So we love doing what we do. If you want to keep us going, subscribe to us. Go to iTunes and hit subscribe. And that helps us keeping us on the top 10 in that, which we have been, which I'm very happy for. I love everybody that we're around, like the Bill Bass and the Joels and everything else. And we are having this fantastic time, with this and doing these podcasts. You want to sponsor one of the top 10 podcasts, get a hold of us. You can get us a hold of us at rodlymanaz@gmail.com. That's rodlymanaz@gmail.com. And we have phone numbers and everything else on our podcast that you can look us up. All you have to do is Google Rod Lyman or the Rod and Syndy podcast, and you actually find us over 100 places that you can listen to us. It's a wonderful, wonderful time. Love you guys. Love having you. Love being around you guys. What a synchronicity. It's 4:47 in the afternoon, which is another synchronicity for Syndy and I. I love it.
It is. And when I was sharing my passionate moment there about the crossing area, obviously the time 444 appeared, and that's the angel numbers. So the angels were obviously around us,
yep,
and
absolutely.
sharing the story of the importance of it. So thank you, celestials out there. I appreciate that, angels, and the 444. And again, he's right. Rod is right. Lately, the last couple days, it's been 47 for me, and
Yep, absolutely.
it's been popping up everywhere. And we even Googled it, and I encourage you guys to Google 47. You'll find out probably why.
It's really interesting. There's some why 47 is such an interesting number in that, and what it has to do with Jesus and everything. I mean, that's just fabulous. When you Google it, though, the meaning of 47, look in the biblical meaning of 47. That's an interesting one, too.
Really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's so
You'll love
cool.
it.
So it's such an odd number, but you know what? That's the thing.
Yep.
it doesn't matter what it is, even odd, but it's just an odd number, and it means a lot. Like number 7 is an odd
Right.
number, it means a lot.
I'll just throw it at you. Is that 47? Jesus was. The Bible had said that Jesus did 47 miracles, so that's part of the biblical thing. I love this. This is great.
Beautiful.
But we have to end it now.
Oh, okay.
Wait till the next one. We're gonna have a really fun one next one. We have a lot of fun doing these podcasts. Make sure you check us out.
Absolutely. Thank you all out there for listening, and we certainly hope you get something out of this. And whether it's to now start paying attention to your signs and your synchronicities. And one thing is that we do for sure is we always give thanks. Whenever I see 444s, for example, or 777s, or whatever the synchronicity is, or anything special in a spiritual realm, I always give thanks. And I'm sure when I'm driving down the road and I see, license plate next to me going 777, I'm giving thanks. I'm sure the people next to me are going, "What is she doing?" But you know what? I don't care, because I'm in my moment,
care.
and I don't. I'm in my moment, and I'm being grateful to see that sign, because I know the universe is
because you're real.
Absolutely. So I encourage you all to pay attention, and thank you once again, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Thank
Guys,
you, Rod.
Yep. Thank you, Cyndee. Have a wonderful night, and God bless all.
Absolutely. Namaste.
Yep,
Love you
you
all.
are loved, and I am blessed. Good night.